So UFC 304, this will be a very interesting card in Manchester, UK, and I'm really looking forward to it. So first fight we have Shauna Bain versus Alice Ardelin. So apparently Alice Ardelin is coming on a short notice, and she's a OF star and MMA fighter who got kicked out of the gym when wives complained. That's hilarious. Uh, I'm definitely picking Shauna Bain here, as it's basically my philosophy to go against these content creators, and then she's coming along as a late short notice replacement. Next we have Mick Parkin versus Lucas Bresky. So despite another Mick Parkin being a fat, unimpressive heavyweight, he does get the job done so far with 3 straight victories to start his UFC career. And he's very smart with his fight IQ. I think he does well with his leg kicks and keeping the fights from a distance. So he doesn't put himself in a compromising position, but he sticks to his strengths. So I guess all that training with Tom Aspinall is paying off. Lucas Bresky has lost his first 3 fights in the UFC, and he should have been cut if he didn't win that narrowly against Walter Walker. So he barely won that fight. I don't think Lucas Bresky is UFC material, and I think UFC is giving Mick Parkin a layup here to pad his stats. And I think Mick Parkin will get a win by decision. Next, we have Sam Patterson versus Kiefer Crosby. Sam Patterson is pretty well-rounded fighter with a diverse skill set. I think he's all right, but he kind of have a risky fighting style. The thing is that he's fighting Kiefer Crosby, who is not even UFC level. Basically, if you look at this guy's regionals, right, he's been beating up choppers with like 6-13 record in the regionals, which is kind of embarrassing, really. But yeah, I don't even think Crosby is a UFC material. So I'm gonna go with Sam Patterson here. So the next fight we have Muhammad Mokaev versus Manel Kape. Okay, why is this fight like in the early prelims right now? That's kind of weird, right? Is Manel Kape planning to pull out again? Hmm, because this fight wasn't the main event and it was rescheduled to the prelims and now the early prelims. So this is a very interesting fight. Mokaev is lucky that the new grounded knee strike rule is not going to apply until October. So he could still abuse that rule by putting his hand uh, on the mat while he's trying to go for a takedown. So he has looked very unimpressive in some of his last few fights. He could have lost some of his few fights, and he kind of basically hung on by decision. So I heard that Manel Kape assaulted him outside of the UFC Performance Center. That was the word, and I don't know. This guy is kind of lunatic. He tried to square off with Adesanya, and basically, he had that controversial post-fight interview. And basically, but Manel Kape, he's a very good striker, especially this level at flyweight. He's actually a very good striker. And he does have the potential to be a number 1 contender if he doesn't actually pull out, if he doesn't have this habit of pulling out. So this is really hard for me. But I think Mokaev having the home ground advantage might work towards his advantage here, because I think Manel Kape needs to find the knockout here, or he might get robbed by the judges, because the judges is probably going to score the control time that Mokaev has. So it depends if Kape can keep the fight standing. But otherwise, I think I'm going to go at Muhammad Mokaev here. I think he does have the home ground advantage, and I think he will be able to get some takedowns on Manel Kape. So here's my picks. All right, next fight we have Auburn Elliott versus Preston Parsons. Okay, this is not a fight that's kind of hard for me to predict. Auburn Elliott, he's a good striker, and both guys are pretty good strikers actually. But Preston Parsons is more of a grappler, and he does use his submission skills and ground control. I mean, his nickname is Pressure, which just means that he likes to pressure people and try to take them down. So Parsons does have more experience, and Elliott has yet to beat a UFC quality opponent. So, but this is kind of tricky because both fighters do not have many fights in the UFC. But I think I'm going to go with Preston Parsons here. I think he'll use his wrestling to pressure Elliott, and I think he'll get the takedowns necessary to basically win by decision. All right, so the next fight we have Modestas Bukalkias versus Marcin Bersinio. I don't know even how to pronounce this, guys. Okay, so um, Modestas is a really first-class striker. He has good power and technique, and Pacino is a good striker as well, and he with knockout power, but his defense is a little suspect. Uh, and he has suffered multiple knockout losses. This is kind of a tricky fight, but I think Modestas will take this. I think his technical striking will be an advantage, and he's going to use that rich advantage, which will be decisive in this fight. I think he'll keep this fight at a distance, and he'll basically outpoint his opponent. All right, next fight we have Molly McCann versus Bruna Brazil. Okay, we all know that women MMA usually go to decision, right? And she's known for good aggressive striking. I think McCann will outstrike Bruno Brazil, and I think as this fight is going to a decision, the judges will basically favor the British fighter. So I think I'm going to go with Molly McCann here. Next fight we have Nathaniel Wood versus Daniel Pineda. Okay, I mean Daniel Pineda is just on the same level of fighter as Wood. He's a kind of mediocre fighter, and I think he has reached his ceiling as a fighter. I mean, he has beaten cans like Herbert Burns and Tucker Lutz, but he always get beaten by the respectable names like Alex Caceres and Top Swanson. So I think Wood's speed and technical striking here should give him an advantage, and I think he'll just outclass him. I just think that Nathaniel Wood is just the better fighter in every department, and if he doesn't win, it'll be kind of embarrassing for him. All right, next fight we have Arnold Allen versus Giga Chikadze. Okay, I think this is the fight that will come down to grappling, basically. Arnold Allen is the more well-rounded fighter of the two, and Giga Chikadze is a dangerous fighter himself. But the problem is he's been dealing with lots of injuries, so he's been pretty inactive. So we don't really know what he look like on the octagon. Uh, I think Arnold Allen, if he's smart, he'll just use his grappling because that's Giga's weakness. I think Arnold Allen will get it done. He'll fight a smart fight, and he'll use his grappling basically to win this fight. So Arnold Allen is my pick here. Okay, next fight we have Christian Leroy Duncan versus Gregory Rodriguez. Okay, I really have a hard time picking this one. Because on paper, okay, it seems that Gregory Rodriguez is the more well-rounded fighter of the two. He's actually a multiple-time Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu champion, if I'm not wrong. And he does, but he could finish most of his fights by knockout. So the issue is that Christian Leroy Duncan, his ground game and takedown defense has yet to be kind of tested. And if Rodriguez is smart, he would utilize his grappling. But so far, it seems that Gregory Rodriguez preferred to use his striking instead of relying to his jiu-jitsu. Uh, this is very hard for me because went back and forth, but at the end of the day, I still think Christian Duncan will win this fight because I think he'll use his distance, and I just think he'll surprise a lot of people with his takedown defense, and I think he'll be able to beat Gregory Rodriguez. So the next fight we have Bobby Green versus Paddy Pimblett. Okay, this is another very interesting toss-up matchup that we have here. Pimblett has gotten a lot of heat since his decision win over Jared Gordon, which was definitely a robbery. But yeah, he should have his first loss in the UFC by now. But the thing is that he's fighting in his home turf here, and he's a big guy. Uh, Paddy Pimblett is a big guy for basically uh for his weight class. So yeah, Bobby Green or King Green, he does a good takedowns, and he's kind of the anti-wrestler in a way. I think he will try to use his jabs against Paddy Pimblett, but Paddy has a rich advantage here, so I think he could avoid his jabs. And I think Paddy is gonna surprise a lot of people. I think he is going to be able to take down Bobby Green. I think the size difference will be an advantage for him. And I think yeah, Bobby Green might actually kind of win this fight, but I think it'll be like this. It'll be a very competitive, close fight. So I just think that Paddy might get away with not robbery here. So I'm thinking Paddy Pimblett to win. Right, and I forgot there's this matchup, Colin Lauren versus Jake Hadley. So um, Lauren is a promising striker. He's a promising prospect. He has good striking, and he comes to with a relentless pressure. So he has knocked out a lot of guys in the regional scene, but for some reason we have yet to see his power translate at the UFC level. Losing to Taylor Lapilus isn't that bad because Lapilus is a good fighter. Now, I'm not sure why Jake Hadley decided to take this fight on a short notice. Because the thing about him is that he fights at flyweight and is kind of undersized for bantamweight. And he's coming on a short notice. So I don't understand what he was thinking, why he's picking this fight when, there's fair matchups for him. Yeah, I think the size difference will matter here. This is like two guys in a different weight class. I think Lauren is just will outstrike him on the feet, and I think he'll hit him more with a power shot. So I'm picking Lauren here to win this fight. All right, and so we have the co-main event, Tom Aspinall versus Curtis Blades. So, well, Tom Aspinall, I'm really impressed with him. I really, really believe he's a truly, truly gifted fighter in the heavyweight division. I don't remember the last time that we have a heavyweight fighter with that combination of being good on the ground and having the knockout power to be able to knock out anyone. So he's finished all his opponents by knockout submissions, and out of his 3 losses, only one is a true loss. Like he lost in the regional to a heel hook. The other 2 losses was like he blew his knee against Blades, and he was disqualified for an illegal elbow, basically. So he's one of the most well-rounded heavyweight champion that the UFC had. Well, interim because of John Jones, but we know how it is. So Curtis Blades, he's a great wrestler, and we saw that when he stuffed Chilton Almeida's takedowns and just basically knocked him out with hammer fists, which is great. But he's been knocked out a few times in his career, and Tom Aspinall definitely has the knockout power to knock him out. So this is why I'm going with Tom Aspinall here, and I'm picking him to win by knockout. I think he's going to fight the smart fight, and I don't think he'll even bother to basically take down Curtis Blades. I think he'll just try to knock him out, and I think he'll get it done in round one. So finally, we have the main event: Leon Edwards versus Bilal Muhammad. Okay, Leon Edwards is a very well-rounded fighter. Okay, and ironically, I think the 5-round format basically suits him more than like the standard fight, 3-round fight. He's amazing at winning fights by points, and basically he's beaten Kamaru Usman twice, who is definitely better than Belal Muhammad in his prime. Like Belal is a relentless pressure fighter, and he has great cardio and grappling. But we all know what he's gonna do. He's gonna try and take down Leon Edwards, but Leon Edwards survived against Kamaru Usman, who is like one of the best wrestlers out there in his when he was in his prime. So they fought once. They fought before, which ended in a no contest, I believe, due to an eye poke. And I watched the first fight and again, and really Leon Edwards was dominating that fight. Um, I didn't see anything that Bilal Muhammad has that could threaten Leon. Like once the Leon Edwards is one of the best takedown defense, and if Bilal Muhammad cannot bring him to the ground, I don't think he has a chance at all on the feet. So again, uh, they are fighting at the home. Leon Edwards is the hometown fighter, and I think he'll get another title defense done here. I think he'll probably win by decision again, but I just think that Leon Edwards is just a better fighter and the more all-rounded fighter. So Leon Edwards it is. Okay, I'm really looking forward to this card. Yeah, it's a shame that the UFC put in a weird time slot where I believe the main event started at 3 a.m. in Manchester at local time, which is ridiculous. But anyways, looking forward to watch this fight. Uh, click like and subscribe if you like my content, and see you later.